Hi, my name is Carol Romero, and I'm responding to the Session 1 front-end reflection video. The first thing it asks me to do is evaluate my typical day-to-day communication, and I would say that it's about a 50-50 split between technology-mediated communication and face-to-face communication. I would say that I wake up in the morning and I speak with my husband, and then I usually go to my job, which is to help take care of my dad, and he and I talk. And I was thinking about how in order to set up meetings these days, or to set up interviews, to set up meetings with friends, to host events, you just have to do it through technology. You have to invite them through Facebook, or you have to text them about it, or else people just don't know. And so I would say that in the front end, like in the initial part of communicating with someone, it's usually through technology, and then later on it's face-to-face. And when I'm with someone, I really try and put my phone face down in another room. One thing that I have been really adamant about is not buying an Apple Watch, because I feel like a lot of people my age have them, but it makes them super distracted and really hard to talk to, because when someone's always doing this, when you're trying to talk to them, I feel like they're communicating with you non-verbally that what you have to say is less important than what's on their phone at that time, and sometimes it's not intentional and it's not on purpose, but it's just there and it's easy to look at. And so I've been really adamant about not having one of those, and me and my husband totally agree on that. So for the first question, it says, do you communicate more with technology or without it? And I think I already answered that. It's a 50-50 mix. There's some things that I just need it for. I'm a part of a volunteer team, and we use GroupMe and Voxer to communicate with each other because we can't always meet, and I think that always is really helpful, and it unites us in a special way, and it's easier to divide tasks. Instead of having to meet all the time, we can accomplish tasks through those things, and that's really helpful. The next question is, which mode of communication do you find most effective? And like I said, I think the way that the world is today, there's just some things that you have to use technology for. But I also mentioned in my discussion that my husband, then fiance, and I used to only do long distance, and that was really challenging. I think you can use technology to mask a lot of things. I think that when your communication is solely limited to doing it through technology, that you can mask hard issues, you can skip over really important details, context is missed, facial cues, even FaceTime, like you can only see the front half of someone's body, and body language is a head-to-toe experience and a head-to-toe science, and so I think it's really easy to hide, and I think it makes us really lazy communicators. And I noticed that with me and my fiance, that we were just getting really lazy when it came to talking about really hard things. And I've noticed that now that we live together and that we're husband and wife, that we can't just gloss over things because we don't have the time, or it doesn't fit in a text bubble, or whatever. It's really challenging, and so that goes on to the next question, which is easier and why. I think communicating through technology is easier, but not more effective. I think that we have become really lazy, like I mentioned before, and I think it's easier to type a sentence than to actually formulate in your brain and try and communicate correctly, because it's just a lot of work to make something, especially when in hard conversations. It's a lot easier to be like, hey, that really hurt my feelings over a text, than in conversation when their response isn't delayed, when you don't have time to think about it and type out a response. In the heat of the moment, things can get said, but I think that that's really important to know how to handle those emotions in those situations in order to become successful communicators. The next question is, how would your life change if you swapped these things? And I think my life would change without technology. I think I would lose a lot of my relationships, honestly. I think a lot of people... So I lived in Arizona my whole life, and then I went to CCU, and then I came back to Arizona and switched to online. But the way that I stay in contact with a lot of my Colorado friends is through my phone. It's not like they can afford to come visit me, or I can afford to visit them all the time. And so I think if I were to switch out those things, I would lose contact with a lot of people, which is really hard to realize that a lot of my relationships are limited to technology, but that's just kind of how it is. The last question is, how does the use or disuse of technology affect the mediation of your relationships? And like I said, I think we've lost a lot of ability to communicate with each other. I think that we're easily distracted. I think we have a knack to make people feel unimportant when we're constantly looking at our phones. And so I'm here to learn more about it, and I'm really excited for this class and to bring in the things I learned from my last class. Thank you.